So I hope my screen is visible. Am I? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. So in the last class, we started our journey with CNN, and precisely we are talking about the convolution operation. Convolution operation is nothing but multiplying the image pixels and the corresponding pixels with the filter. Image pixels into filter pixels, or to be precise, collection of filters we call as a kernel. So now, since I assume that my image is one channel, so then I'll have only one filter, so I multiply that. Why I'm multiplying it? Because I need to have a general understanding. Instead of classifying with the exact pixel values, I take the help of my neighbors and then try to give the importance with respect to the pixels. See, take the example of me staying in a gated community. I will not talk with my neighbors on an equal priority. Maybe I talk with one of them very frequently, and with others I don't talk much with other neighbors. Similarly, in a particular image, if I want to generalize my understanding, I'm taking the pixel values and adding up. Instead of adding up like this, for example, I just want to update the 25 pixel. Then 25 pixel around pixels are there, 30 plus 25 plus 65 plus 75, something like this. Now 25 will be updated with this sum. This sum may be assumed that 200. Now wherever 25 is there, this at this particular point I replace that with 200. That means I have a general understanding. But the thing is, you cannot give equal priority. Here the equal priority 1 into 35, 1 into 30, 1 into 25, 1 into 65, 1 into 75. You cannot give equal priority to all my neighboring pixels. Instead, let us give 0.5 here, 0.7 here, 0.1 here, 0.3 here. So let me give some weightage to my neighbors. Accordingly, I'll try to have the understanding. Okay, that is the basic idea of filter. These are nothing but filter pixels or filter weights. Okay, that is what we have discussed in the last class. In the last class, I think we already have seen how to do the convolution operation with one channel. We also have seen the convolution operation with more than one channel, to be precise with three channels, R, G, B. This is what we have seen. Now today we will look into the other aspects of convolution operation. Also, to determine the width and height of your output image after applying filters and after doing the padding. I think I have also discussed padding. Okay, and striped. So we have a formula Wi minus plus 2p minus f by s plus 1. Similarly, h naught is equal to Wi plus 2p minus f by, oh, so this is hi plus 2p minus f by s plus 1. So this is the summary of the previous class. Now let us jump into the next point. And what about the depth? Depth is equal to number of kernels. Now, not number of filters. Just be careful. Number of kernels. So yeah. Now, what is the difference between CNN and DNN? CNN versus DNN is the first question that we'll answer in today's class. By now, you have realized the importance of CNN. What is the drawback of DNN? If I have some neurons here, if I have some hidden layer neurons here, each neuron has to get connected with every other neuron. That means your connections will be so dense. What is the problem with the dense connections? More freedom is there, more weights. When you have more weights, you have more freedom. When you have more freedom, you can exactly fit any training point. Any training point you can have exact fit. That is nothing but training error to be zero. When training error to be zero, then it leads to a situation of overfitting, which I don't want. So that means I need to reduce these weights. Reducing these weights is possible with the CNN and not possible with the DNN. Fine. This motivation also we have told earlier itself. But the thing is, can I draw a deep neural network to represent the CNN operation? Again, I'm repeating. Can I draw a deep neural network such that that deep neural network should actually represent the operation of CNN, whatever the convolution operation that we have done? Now, slowly we are trying to build the convolutional neural network with the help of deep neural network. Okay, now let us see that. Because already you know deep DNN, so I'm, instead of giving a complete opposite side of neural network, let us try to understand the CNN operation or the convolution operation being applied on a DNN to reflect the CNN operation. Okay, it may be confusing, but unless until I draw, you may not get clarity. Let me draw it. For example, I have some image. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So assume that I have a handwritten digit. Maybe I say it's 5. Some handwritten digit 5. Handwritten digit recognition is a classical problem in deep learning. Whenever people start any deep learning project, they start with this handwritten digit recognition data set and they start learning what exactly is happening. In machine learning, we have iris data set, right? You know that this is a classical problem in machine learning. We generally try our understanding in this or with this data set. Similarly, whenever you're starting deep neural network, we ask students to start working on this particular handwritten digit recognition. Now, if this is an image where I have written handwritten digit 5, I have to detect it, or the system has to detect it. See, generally, maybe I will take certain pixels. Maybe I'll just take, I can take any pixels. Maybe I'll just take last pixels. That is fine. Or maybe should I take first pixels? Anything is fine. It's only for the explanation purpose. Okay. Maybe I'll try to take the last guys. This is 1 pixel, another pixel, another pixel, another pixel, 4 pixels. Now, how do I represent the convolution operation in a deep neural network? In a deep neural network, you know the guys, there will be input. So how many inputs I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 fours, 16. So let me create 16 neurons. We create 16 input neurons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not drawing everything. Just trying to create, or otherwise I'll draw. How much will not take much time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 input neurons. Now I have to represent these guys. So these are part of my last convolution operation because I start my convolution operation from here. Then I start here. Then I start here. This particular convolution operation that you see here is the last convolution operation. Assume that my filter size is 2 by 2. Filter size is 2 by 2. I hope you are also maintaining notes along with me. So this is my filter size. It also have some pixel values. Now what I do is I just multiply these pixel values with filter pixel values. You know that how to multiply. This is P, P1 with P11, P12, P15, P16. I just need to multiply these guys. So whenever you are trying to do that, the resultant see for example P11, P12. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now P11 should be multiplied with F1. P11, then P12, then P15, then P16. I need to multiply this and aggregate, right? Whatever the result that you get after aggregation, is, maybe I call this as H middle layer. It's part of the last part. Maybe you can call this as H1. How many hidden layers we can have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. H19, because that would be my somewhere around ninth convolution operation, because I start with first convolution operation, second, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and finally 9. So ninth convolution operation in the first hidden layer. So that's the reason I'm writing H19. You understood, guys? If I do the convolution operation here, this is pixel 1, pixel 2, pixel 3, pixel 4. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's not pixel 3, pixel 4. Pixel 3 here, pixel P4, pixel P5, pixel P6. That means 1, 2, 5, 6. I aggregate this, multiply with the filter weights. Filter weights are F1, F2, 5 for F5, it is F3 weight, F4 weight. Here also F1 is a weight, F2, and this is F3, and this is F4. I multiply, and whatever the result that I got is the aggregated result. You know already in hidden layer, you will have aggregated result, and what would be the next one? Activation. Here also, I multiply these input values with the weights, and finally I get aggregate result, and I'll apply activation here. Which activation? You can apply any activation function, ReLU, leaky ReLU, we have seen it, right? So now, again, should I stop at this point? No, actually you should have, this is H11. In between you'll have H12, then you'll have H13, then you'll have H14, etc., till H19. Now you should realize by now, see 1, 2, 5, 6 are connected to this, but this 2 is not connected with any other hidden neurons in the same layer. Okay, even 3 is not at all connected to this first hidden layer neuron. That means we are not following dense connections. But if the same network has to be represented in a dense form or in a deep neural network, every input neuron should be connected to every other 16 neurons. Okay, so that is not happening. That means what I have done or what I have achieved, I've achieved sparse connectivity. All neurons are not connected to the next layer neurons. That means I reduce the freedom. That means I will not end up at training error to be 0. That is one benefit. Another benefit is CNN actually uses the concept of weight sharing. Weight sharing. If you observe, this F1 and this F1 are same. This F2, this F2 are same. This F3 and this F3 is same. This F4, this F4 is same. But it's not the case with the deep neural network. Every weight is independent unless until there is, like, when randomly generated these weights, maybe by chance the weights may be same, but we don't have any strict restriction that the weight should be same. Okay, the weights can be different in most of the cases, but here the strict restriction that here the F1 and this F1 is same. The similarly F2, F3, F4 here are exactly equal to the F2, F3, F4 used in H19 operation. So that means I am sharing the weights. So these are the two advantages that reduces the freedom of exact fitting of your training points, so that your training error will not be 0, by which the testing error will also be not end up at getting higher error. Okay. So if training error is 0, then you get higher testing error. I don't want that. So my training error may not be equal to 0. My testing error also will be decent. Okay, fine. So you should not get a doubt, sir. Why you are telling that training error should not be 0? If error is 0, na sir, we'll be benefited. Yes. See, error should be less. That's all. If error should be less, but if error is exactly 0, that means it's an exact fit of all your training points. It's like by hearting all these points instead of understanding in a generic form. So if you are by hearting the training time, you are during the training time, during the testing point, if you cannot understand the pattern, and you'll end up at getting higher test error, that I don't want. Even though you make some mistakes in training data, I don't mind, but I don't want bigger mistakes to be done during testing. That's the reason we don't want training error to be 0. Okay, perfect. So this is about DNN being represented. Sorry, this is about CNN being represented in the form of DNN. You should know the comparison. CNN is not brought from the sky, Nana. It was a different representation, but underlying you can represent a CNN in the form of DNN. Is it clear, guys? Okay. Here we actually achieved our goal. We achieved our goal. What is our goal? I want a architecture which actually has complexity. I cannot completely remove the complexity. If I remove the complexity, then what happens? It will lead to underfitting. It will lead to underfitting. That means if my points are like this, then I still draw a straight line. What is the point? What is the fun? Okay, I should not reduce the complexity of the network extremely to the simplest model. That means I can reduce the complexity in such a way that overfitting is avoided. That's all. But if you reduce the model, here this is a non-linear model, but you are making it as a linear model. That means you completely reduce the complexity, but fitting a non-linear points with a linear line doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That means it leads to underfitting. It leads to underfitting. So that is the reason we should not completely remove the complexity. Maybe we can reduce the complexity to a certain extent. That is our thing. But still, I want more complexity only. But this more complexity should be there with fewer parameters. I want the complexity to be high, but with only less parameters. How can you do that? It's the tricky part, right? I want you to gain the highest possible marks, but only spending few number of hours. I want you to get rank number 1, but only spend 2 hours per week. Get this. Then it is very difficult for you, right? All of them could not get this. All of them could not get this when I put another constraint. So, see, whenever I put another second constraint, the training error will not be 0. That is the main logic here. So, but did I achieve this feat? More complexity with fewer parameters? Yes. Because how did I achieve more complexity? Because I still have more hidden layers. Where are the hidden layers here? Where are the hidden layers here? This is hidden layer 1. Should I stop at this point, or will I have one more hidden layer? Or this hidden layer keeps on growing? This keeps on growing. But what exactly we do? Now you'll apply filter operation on these outputs. Considering these as inputs, again you repeat the same process. Repeat the same process even for the hidden layer. Again, you'll get this. You consider these as inputs and start creating hidden layer. Same, Nana, same. Whatever we have done with input, whatever we have done with this input layer, and this is my output layer. In the next iteration, this guy will become output layer, and the upper layer will become. So the next iteration, this guy will become input layer, and this guy will become output layer. You repeat the same process. Doesn't matter. Okay, perfect. Now, that's the reason we could achieve more complexity because of number of hidden layers even in CNN. CNN. What about fewer parameters? Yes, we reduce the number of parameters. We'll see that scientifically with calculations, but we reduce the parameters because we are sharing the same filter weights. We are taking the same filter, move horizontally and vertically across the entire image. Since the same set of weights are used for the entire image, I reduced the number of parameters being used for my neural network. So fewer parameters is possible with weight sharing. Weight sharing is possible with the filters or kernel. So that means I achieved my goal. I want the complexity to retain, but with less number of parameters. That is what we achieved. Now, yesterday I told you that only one kernel will not apply. We will apply multiple kernels, right? We'll apply multiple kernels. Assume that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like this. Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Assume that with 1, 2, 5, 6, you applied one kernel and you got some summation and you applied some activation. Now, but I can also apply multiple filters. I can also apply multiple filters. Then what happens? 1, 2, 5, 6. This is the output this is output of the kernel filter 1 of kernel K1, filter 1 of kernel K2. That means I can have hidden layer 1 where these hidden layers or hidden layer neurons can be from different kernels. This is very, very important, guys. You can apply multiple kernels to the same set of inputs. Since each kernel has its own weights, the aggregation will be different and the activation function output also will be different. Okay. So let us jump into the next concept. Let me link up the previous concept to the next concept. See, we have in deep neural network, we have input layer followed by hidden layer, again followed by hidden layer, again followed by hidden layer, and something it goes on like this. It goes on like this. Finally, you will have output layer, the softmax layer. This is basically a deep neural network. Then what about CNN? In CNN, I'll have input layer. I can have hidden layer. That means, should I only use hidden layer till the output layer? No. There is one more, like few layers. Slowly we'll learn. There are other layers also other than hidden layer. One of the layer is max pull layer. One of the layer is max pull layer. So what exactly this max pull layer does, we will see with an example. And maybe again I'll have hidden layers. Again I can have max pull layer. Again I can have hidden layer, etc., etc. This sequence can proceed further. But what is the take home? CNN will not have only the hidden layer or convolution layers. It can also have max pull layer. Okay, so in CNN, the hidden layer is also called as convolution layer. Okay, we will see that in a different representation. But one thing you need to understand, we can represent CNN. We can represent CNN in the form of DNN. That is what you need to understand by now. Okay. Now, what is this max pull layer? Everything we will see with examples. But do remember, guys, once the aggregation is done here, you can apply activations. Aggregation is done, apply activation. Aggregation is done, apply activation. Aggregation is done, apply activation. The same thing. Okay. I think this knowledge is sufficient to learn various CNN architectures. This is extremely important topic, guys. Extremely important topic for your projects also. You'll apply these architectures in your projects. Various convolution neural network architectures. Okay, we'll learn the first ever CNN architecture that was introduced in the history. That is first CNN architecture. This is the first CNN architecture that was introduced. That is called LayNet. Now, I will draw the LayNet convolution neural network. First, if you understand this, just a second. Okay, fine. So, fine, let us start. Here, actually, the most of the CNN architectures were named under the other names. For example, this LayNet architecture was introduced by LeCun. LeCun. So that's the reason he has taken the first two letters and introduced Lay network. Okay, so most of the architectures were named under the other names only who introduced that architecture. So each and every time I may not tell that. If you are interested about that other names, you can just go through that and get to know the details. Okay. Now, if there is a logic, I can tell. But if there is no logic and just it's mostly from the other names, and there's no point in discussing that. Okay. Now, I will draw the architecture, Nana. If you understand this architecture, I think we will discuss about 5 to 6 architectures. If you understand this architecture, you will understand all the other architectures, and this occupies majority of our module 3. Okay. Listen very, very carefully. This is some input image where I have some image here. What I do is this input image I want to supply to CNN. Which CNN? LayNet CNN. Now what it should say, what should be the expected output? It should say that the digit that was written here is 5. So it should display as 5. Perfect. Sir, already it is visible now, sir. 5. 5 system has to display the same thing. See, for us it is known, for us it is very familiar about the digit. Easily we can tell. But system is not aware of any of these digits or numbers. You have studied in your 3rd class or 4th class. Computer knows only binary language. System doesn't know about this 5 or 6 or 7 written on that image. System treats it's a collection of pixels internally represented in binary digits, then binary digits. Then obviously more than that it will not know anything. So telling the system that I have 5 or 6 or 7 in the image is definitely a tricky job. Okay, so now we are trying to make it happen with the help of an architecture called LayNet architecture. Let us understand that. First, I will try to apply the convolution operation, or I will try to have convolution layer. As we have hidden layer, I'm just calling that as convolution layer. Now, this convolution layer, I will try to apply stride is equal to 1, filter is equal to 5, number of kernels is equal to 6, padding is equal to 0. This configuration I have selected. What exactly I'm trying to do? S is equal to 1, F is equal to 5. F is equal to 5 in the sense the filter size is 5 by 5. Filter size is 5 by 5. Okay. And K is equal to 6. Otherwise, I'll write like that. I don't want to make you confused. Its filter size is 5 by 5. Okay. And number of filters that you have to apply is 6. Number of filters that you have to apply is 6. And the padding is 0. Now let us apply the formula that we have studied in the last class. This is my 32 width, 32 height, 32 by 32 image. Now W output after applying this convolution layer or convolution operation is Wi plus 2p minus f by s plus 1. Let us apply. Wi is 32 plus 2p padding is 0. I'm not adding any padding bits. Minus f. F is 5. You should take only 1 5. Okay. That's it. Initially I have written. Initially I have written only. Initially, just a second. Okay. So apply minus 5 by stride. Stride is 1. Here. S is 1 plus 1. If you simplify this, you'll get 28. That means the width of the output after applying this convolution operation is with this configuration. With this configuration, if I apply convolution operation on this image with this filter size, then what I get? I get a new image of size 28 width. Similarly, if you do it for height h naught, then also you'll get hi plus 2p minus f by s plus 1. Hi is also here 32. 32 plus 0 minus 5 by 1 plus 1. This also is 28. So my height is also 28. You understood, guys? Now, see, guys, this is extreme. People get confused here. I have applied 5 by 5 filter on this image and I got this. That means what I have done, I have taken 32 by 32 matrix. 32 by 32 matrix. And what I've applied, I've taken a 5 by 5 filter and I've taken a 5 by 5 filter and applied convolution operation. Multiply the pixel values with the filter weights and whatever the resultant matrix that I got is 28 by 28. I see this is only one 5 by 5 operation. Again, next 5 by 5. Again, next 5 by 5. Again, bottom like this. We have seen it now. You have to scroll the filter horizontally. Once one row is done, then come down again, slide the filter. So after doing that operations with the help of filter, you get an output of 28 by 28. Your image size has been reduced from 32 by 32 to 28 by 28. Why it has reduced? Because I'm trying to have a general understanding by collecting the pixels of my neighbors. Okay, perfect. Now, would I get only one frame of 28 by 28? No. Now, how many filters I have? 6 filters. For every filter I apply, I get a 2D frame. That's what I have discussed in the last class. Now, I apply one more filter. I'll apply one more filter. Once I apply one more filter also of the same size 5 by 5, since the another filter will have different set of weights, I'll get a different set of frame. Okay. I'll get a different set of frame. Now, how many such filters I have to apply? 6 filters. That means 6 different frames I will get. Again, fourth filter, I'll get one more 2D frame. Fifth filter, I get one more different frame. Sixth filter, I get one more different frame. So you'll have six different dimensions here. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Do you have any questions on this? Please ask me at this point only. Please ask me at this point. It's very, 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 very important. Otherwise, you'll not understand anything from now till the module 3 ends. You understood? What I've done, I have taken stride is equal to 1, filter size is equal to f by 5 by 5, and how many search filters I'm taking? 6 filters with padding 0. Then since each filter will give one 2D output, since I have 6 filters, I have 6 2D outputs. Okay, that means earlier, this is a grayscale image. This is very important, guys. This is a grayscale image. That means only one channel. If you have a colored channel, then you'll have 3 channels. Now, how many channels you have after convolution operation? 6 channels. 6 channels. So why should I go for 6 channels? Because each 2D frame will have a different understanding. This guy will understand one pattern from this image, and the second guy will understand different pattern of the image. Third guy will understand different pattern. Fourth guy will understand different pattern. Fifth guy will understand different pattern of the input image. Sixth guy will understand different pattern. So since each of them has their own pattern of understanding, finally it would classify the digit as 5. If only I have taken one filter, if I have only taken one filter, then I'll have only one understanding. Then I may not be able to classify the digits with a high confidence. So I want a different perspective. See why I want a different perspectives, Nana? Because I have written the 5 like this, but you will write like this. Some others will write like this. Some others will write something else. This also is 5. That means irrespective of the way that they write, my system has to classify as 5, which is possible when I have a different dimensions of my understanding. I should have a different perspectives of my understanding, which is possible with different filters, with as many filters as possible. Each filter captures one particular pattern of the image. Okay, so that is very, very, very important. Okay, next, one more question by now you should get is, sir, you're telling that I'll apply one filter, or you'll apply one filter and you get one 2D output. If there are 100 filters, you get 100 2D outputs. And you're saying that each filter captures one particular pattern. If there are 100 filters, 100 different patterns will be captured. That is fine. But who told you that 6 filters should be used? Who told you that the filter size should be 5 by 5? Who told you that stride is 1? Who told you that padding should be 0? No one tells, Nana. This is a standard architecture, LayNet, that they have tried n number of possible combinations, with different styles equal to 2, filter 6 by 6, 7 by 7, 8 by 8, 9 by 9, 10 by 10, 11 by 11. So that's a number of filters 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, padding 1, 2, 3. Like that, they have tried with huge number of combinations, and they found out that this particular configuration with stride is equal to 1, with filter 5 by 5 and k is equal to 6 and padding is equal to 0, gave the best accuracy or the least error when they run for this image recognition tasks. For example, they have tested, once they finalize this configuration, they've tested with handwritten digits, and the configuration that for which they have got the best accuracy is this. Configuration is S is equal to 1, F is equal to 5, and the number of filters should be 6, padding 0. This is a configuration for layer 1. Again, the architecture has not been completed. This is only layer 1, convolution layer 1. Like this, we will keep on adding the layers. And for each layer, we'll have this sort of configuration. Do remember, guys, don't get a question that why S is equal to 1, why F is equal to 5, why K is equal to 6. That is already a fixed configuration, and they call as LayNet. Why they fixed? Because they tried a number of possible combinations. When they tried these combinations, they got better predictions. That's all. Okay. Yeah. Now, if we are in the layer 1 only. Like this, we'll have different layers. All that layers we'll discuss in the later class, but let me complete at least layer 1. Now, what about number of parameters? Because we are concerned about number of parameters. That is what we have to reduce. That's what we are having weight sharing. Okay. So, what about the number of parameters? Can anybody guess how many parameters for this connections? That means, see, you should tell me like this. You should think in this direction. You should think like this. There are 32 by 32 inputs. Okay. So, I have inputs like this. This is 32 by 32 matrix. You put it in a vector form. Okay, in a single dimension. 32 by 32 is a 2-dimensional. Now I have converted that into single dimension. Like this, we'll have all the or to say inputs. Now, once I have all that inputs, I will have the convolution operation. And I have already shown you what happens with one convolution operation. Where is that? Here. One convolution operation. Now, like that, you have 28 by 28, 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 28 by 28. Now you can imagine the structure here and tell me the number of weights I require, because weights depend on the number of filters. So I have how many filters? 6 filters. Now what is my input size? Input size is, so my filter size is 5 by 5, and this filter has to be applied for how many channels? Only for one channel. There's only one channel here in the input image. So 5 cross 5 into 1. And how many such filters are there? 6. How many such filters are there? 6. So totally 150 weights are required. That's all. Only 150 weights. Only 150 weights. Because even though I have more convolution operation, but the same 5 by 5 filter is only used across the entire image. Okay, so if I have the image, once I have selected a 5 by 5 filter, I'll use the same 5 by 5 filter to do the convolution operation across the entire image. So that means how many such 5 by 5 filters are there? 6 5 by 5 filters are there. So totally 150 weights are just sufficient for to represent these particular connections. But imagine the same connections in the form of a deep neural network. We'll also see that in the next class. What happens? The same situation in the context of deep neural network. You'll really surprised. We require millions of weights, but we just have now 150 weights. We'll see that while we are discussing the architectures. I'll also compare with the deep neural network weights. But now you need to understand the number of parameters are just 150. Okay, this is only convolution layer 1. So we will also need to go with, I think we have more number of layers. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Totally, I think 6. Yeah, I think 6 layers will be there. We will also have to discuss those and complete the LayNet architecture. That we will see in the next class. I'll take your questions for the day.